Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I've heard you guys ask lots of questions about omelets and how to make an omelet, a good, decent omelet. This is a very simple way, nothing crazy happens. Um, so, this will just be a normal cheese omelet. And next, I will show you the supplies, both the tools and the food supplies that you'll need to make this cheese omelet. Okay, so here we have the supplies, both food materials and tools that you will need to make your cheese omelet. So we've got the oil. You want to oil your pan first. So we've got our oil, we've got our eggs. We're going to use, I think, 2 today. You can use 3 or more, depending on the size of your pan and how hungry you are. Here's the bowl and fork for mixing up your eggs before they become an omelet. Here is your salt, your cheese, which will go in at the very end, spatula, shaped like an egg because it's awesome, and our pan. The pan is important, the size of the pan, because that's how wide your omelet's going to be. So if you don't want your omelet to be this wide, then you're going to have to find a different pan. And also the eggs, the amount of eggs also matter to how big your omelet is, along with the pan. And then you'll need a plate to put it all on. So now we will start the process. All right, so the first thing I'm always going to do is turn on the burner to, this is one where it has 2 rings. It has an inner ring and an outer ring. I turn on both rings and I turn it to a little more than half, or a little more than medium for this. I'm gonna let that heat up while I take my bowl and fork, and I'm going to I'm doing 2 eggs, not very hungry today. So I've got 2 eggs. They're just normal eggs. I'm gonna take them, I'm gonna crack them, put them in the bowl. You really would like to avoid any shell in your omelet. It's horrible. It'll make you not want eggs for a long time. And I demolished that one. Hopefully there's no shell in the bowl. So now I'm gonna go over here. I'm gonna throw away these shells so I don't have to worry about them. And I'm going to wash my hands because I totally got egg yolk everywhere, or egg schmutz. And here I'm going to come and whisk these eggs up with this fork. So the eggs look like this. They've got the yolk intact. We want to mix these up. I usually stab the yolk to start the mixing process. And then we want to mix these up until they look like one color. So when there's no more separate yolk and white, you are finished. So I'm gonna mix this now. All right, so it's starting to look like a general color. There's some white still in it, little bits, but that's okay. It's looking like a general orange color. The yolk is mixed with the white. I'm gonna take this fork and put it in the sink. I'm done with it. So here's what it should look like. I don't know if you can see that, but it should look like that. And then we're going to take our cooking oil. There's a little schmutz in my pan. We're going to spray this evenly so that all of the pan has some oil on it so that the omelet doesn't get stuck. And then an important detail for these non-stick pans like this, when they've got this smooth, shiny inside, you do not want to use metal on it. This is a plastic or rubbery sort of spatula. Metal will scratch these pans and make it so the non-stick stuff will flake off. So now I'm going to take my eggs. I'm going to pour it in, kind of in the center, but evenly. And this is going to be a rather skinny omelet because usually I do 3 eggs in this pan, but not hungry today. And then you want to make sure that the omelet comes, the eggs come and coat the whole outside of the pan in a circle, or the whole pan in a circle. So as this cooks, you kind of can let it sit for a little bit, but as the outsides start to harden into an omelet sort of consistency, You gotta make sure your pan's warm enough so it does that. But you're gonna want to take the edge, take your spatula and kind of slip it under the edge, one of the sides of your omelet, and you're gonna want to move it so that the egg on top of the omelet that is runny can pour into the sides, and so the whole omelet, everything gets cooked evenly. So you kind of lift up and then pour. Oop, although this omelet, still, like I said, pan is pretty warm and not a lot of eggs, so it's going to cook fast, which is good for us. So now the thing has kind of become a solid thing. It's still got some uncooked egg on top, but it's looking pretty good. As you can see, it moves like as one whole mass. So now would be a good time to take your sea salt as much as you like, as much as you would like. I'm gonna do like this much. Put it on there. The rest goes in the sink. And then I'm gonna take my cheese, which I have not opened until now. Open it, and then I'm gonna apply the cheese pretty liberally. I like a lot of cheese in the omelet, but you can put it on both sides, but I generally put it on one side because at the end here, you're gonna take this omelet and you're gonna fold it over anyway. So now it's all cooked. I'm gonna take the side of this omelet, or this side of the omelet, and I'm gonna flip it over onto that side. So now it's got this nice fold on it. And see how it's got the nice golden brown? It's kind of what you want it to look like. There's preference. Some would say this is overcooked. This is how I like it. And now you just kind of, you leave it like this. I'm going to take it, I'm going to put it on my plate. Usually slides right out. And now here we have lunch or breakfast or dinner or whatever meal you'd like to call it. You can throw all sorts of things in there, vegetables, meat, or other things. And then an important detail just in cooking in general, but omelets, I often will forget to turn off the oven. Or turn off the burner. You turn the knob off, and then I usually move the pan over to a non-hot part of the burner. Kind of let it sit before I clean it. But now the rest of this stuff just goes in the sink. These go in the fridge, and your omelet is finished, and you can now have lunch or dinner or whatever it is. Thank you, guys. Remember, this is going to be important in class. You're going to have to maybe rewatch this a few times. Make sure you get it down. We're going to make our own omelets in class, and you'll be expected to do it with not as much instruction as I gave today. So thank you. Have a good rest of your day, guys.